How to record a presentation on Zoom. Hey, thanks for joining me here because, sometimes these things can be tricky. There could be a very simple answer to how to do this, but I wanted to set you up for success in all the different ways and why you want to record your presentation. You see, if you're a leader, if you're a speaker, if you're somebody who does a lot of presentations, you absolutely need to know how to do this properly, but also so that you can record it, watch it back, become better at what you do, and equally to be able to share it as a part of your promotional materials, etc. And maybe it's a really important meeting you need to record. And so we're going to help you to get everything in the right settings in the right place in order to make this happen. Thanks for joining me. Hey, thanks for joining me on how to record a presentation on Zoom. Now, this may sound like a really basic thing, but I want you to know that it actually can be kind of tricky because in order to record something on Zoom, you need to have the right settings, you need to have everything looking right, and maybe this is recording for a meeting, maybe this is recording for a presentation you're giving, maybe you want to watch it back, maybe you're the leader of an organization, you want everybody to check it out. And so as I show you how to do all of this, it's going to be a great thing for your ability to share the Zoom presentations in the future and recording. So let's dive right in. So first of all, let's set the stage for success. Before you press record on Zoom, I want you to be in the right place with your camera, your laptop, your place of recording. The challenge is that a lot of people don't realize that they might have a window behind them with light glaring behind them and they look like a ghost or something. So make sure to close the windows. Make sure to have lighting in front of you. Make sure that you have a working microphone. Make sure that the settings are all set in a proper way so that when you turn on your camera, whether it's the webcam that's built into your laptop or if you have an extra camera like a DSLR, that it's going into the proper connections and that your voice matches up with your lips and your mouth as it moves. All these things matter. In fact, you want to even consider what's behind you. As you can see on this set here, it's very beautiful, isn't it? It's like a perfect Zoom recording if you had it. Well, there's also ways that you could have something kind of like this. Although this is real, you could have a background through the green screen. There's other options through settings that you can figure out on other videos, but we're going to talk about recording the video here today. I want you though, before we get to that point, to think about your body positioning. Are you framed in properly with the Zoom? Are you sitting properly or standing? I would recommend standing for a lot of the Zoom meetings and calls that I would have in order to have the right posture and the right energy in order to give all that I can through that Zoom presentation. I'd also recommend that you not do this through the microphone on your laptop. Unfortunately, those sound really bad. What I like to do is to have an external microphone that I actually have on a boom stand that integrates into my DSLR camera or into my webcam. When we have all of these things put together, and don't let it intimidate you, don't let it stop you from putting a presentation or an event together or a Zoom recording. I want you to know that you can still have something fine through the computer, but just make sure it sounds right, and then you're going to test it out when you record it. We'll show you how right here. So first you need to optimize your Zoom settings. I want you to adjust your video and audio settings so that it actually is the most optimal for what you're going to need. Consider the video resolution as well as the type of audio you're going to use. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see a little microphone and you can click on the little arrow next to it. And what's interesting about that is that you can choose any type of audio feed that you have connected to your computer. Same with the video camera down in the left-hand corner. You're going to see how there's options to use different cameras or webcams or other software that you may have invested in. I want you also now to enable recording permissions. So making sure that recording privileges are accessible for all the people that are going to be on the call, because let's say you're not the only one that's going to share and present and speak. You want to make it so that everybody is enabled in that sense. So make sure that's happening through your settings. Now at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see right in the middle, there's a little share screen button that's green. It's the only one that's green on the bottom, and all the rest are kind of like a white. I want you to look at that green button, and next to it is the record button. It's just a little circle with another circle, looks like a target. That's your record button. I want you to go ahead and click on that and test things out. See how it works. But before it records, it's going to ask you a very specific question. Do you want to record to the Zoom cloud, or do you want to record to your actual laptop desktop and to an external or to a hard drive. A lot of people like to record to the cloud because they don't want to gunk up their desktop. I would recommend you always record to your desktop, and here's why. I've actually had friends that unfortunately have recorded it to the cloud. Guess what happened? When their Zoom account lapsed due to a credit card issue, all the recordings were gone. So don't record it to the cloud unless you absolutely have to. And then remember to go and download it to your computer. I always like to record it and download it to my computer desktop. That way I know exactly where it is. I can put it in any external hard drive I need or into my own cloud service. I'm not disparaging the Zoom cloud recording services. I'm just saying, if you were to lose your account for some reason, you will not get those recordings back. So just make sure that you have it recorded at the right place. So I'm actually quite particular about where I put my Zoom recordings. I always, like I said, record it to the hard drive and the desktop that I'm recording the Zoom on anyway. But this, I do this kind of like I'm a crazy person, but I want you to know this is why it's so important to me and why I made this video for you, is because I like to put my recordings in 3 different places. Yeah, it may sound extreme, but it's for real. I have a Vimeo Pro account. Vimeo is a lot like YouTube, but it's a little bit more user-friendly for storage in that case, and it's a lot more private in my opinion. And so I have a Vimeo account. I would recommend you check out Vimeo if you haven't heard of it, but I store everything on Vimeo as my first place outside of just my desktop. The next place I'll store it is on Google Drive. Now, if you have a Google Drive, I hope that you have a lot of storage, and I like to organize those there as well. And then the third place is an external hard drive. So I'll put it in literally 4 places: my desktop, Vimeo, Google Drive, and an external hard drive. Does that sound like excessive and too much? Not to me. These recordings are so important that I'm going to use them over and over again for different things. Whether it's an important meeting, a great presentation, I want all of those to be in a place I can always access them. The next thing I want to encourage you to do is to prepare your presentation materials. Before you get ready to record something, you need to have this all ready to go. You don't want to be thinking about it just as you're giving your presentation, so practice this and set it up so that you have all of your presentation ready. For example, if you're going to have slides, how are you going to show them? Do you know how to share the screen? Which screen are you going to share? Do you want people to see your desktop? Or do you have an external drive or external computer that allows for you to share some of these? You can also invest in some software that's really cool. One of my favorite software that I've invested in order to share my slides in an effective way, because I'm on a Mac computer, I use what's called Ecamm. Ecamm is a very powerful tool, and it's wonderful for making great presentations, and there's a seamless integration. So I'm not necessarily sharing my screen. In other words, I'm integrating it into the actual presentation in real time. So it can pop up next to me, it can cover me completely, I can be in a little circle. Ecamm is awesome, check it out. Another item that I like to encourage people to consider is the Elgato Stream Deck. So Stream Deck is just a bunch of little buttons. It's a little device that you have that you pre-program, whether videos, slides, any kind of presentation you want into there. So it'll actually play over the top of your screen, which is a wonderful thing if you want to share something different within your presentation without sharing the screen. The other great hardware device that I've purchased is called a Rodecaster Pro. And the Rodecaster Pro, it was built for podcasters who wanted to have a mixing board with microphones, audio, and sound patches. I'd recommend you check this out as well. If you want to really up your game with Zoom, making your recordings awesome, this Rodecaster Pro is something you're gonna love. And then of course, this is the best of all the hardware you can buy, in my opinion, for creating a great Zoom presentation. It's called an ATEM Mini Pro. This is from Blackmagic Design. And actually, this is what helped me survive through the pandemic in 2020 when I lost all of my work as a live presenter and I turned to Zoom to be the main place that I was going to present all of my presentations. Now, I recorded so many of these and it was so helpful to be able to have the ATEM switcher. What does that do? It actually allowed me to connect different devices, like different cameras, multiple cameras, so I had them in different spots. So when I was talking like this, then I could switch a button and I could talk to this camera. Then I could switch to this camera. I could actually do almost like a TV production. It was amazing. I'd love for you to check out the ATEM Pro Mini. from Blackmagic Design. It's incredible. Now, as you're starting to learn all of these different items that you could buy and you could have as hardware, I want you to now think about how you engage your audience on Zoom. You know, if you're going to record yourself, it's one thing to just press record and say, okay, I'm good. It's another thing to have tools that allow you to really make it an experience for your audience. So think about the chat. Maybe you put together some polls or do a Q&A. Show people how to use the emojis down below or the raise of the hand or the applause. There's different options down there. People love to know how to do this, including there's a place for a timer if you have a guest on, and that can have a little timer in the corner to keep things in line. All of these tools are powerful to learn. I hope you'll take the time to do so. Now let's talk about utilizing the recording features on Zoom. You can highlight a speaker when they speak, so it's not just kind of the Brady Bunch of all the different frames of people that are watching. You can highlight just that person speaking, and that's really nice for a recording in the future to watch back. And it's helpful, especially if that recording is showing the person sharing their screen or sharing some slides so then everybody can see it highlighted. Now let's also talk about incorporating visual enhancements. I talked about the background that I have here, and this is real, but you can use a green screen, and that's a cool feature. They have upgrades that you can also get, and you can get other softwares if you want to get into that. But I'll tell you, it's so fun to be able to see somebody have their own brand behind them that's not even a banner or anything that's physical behind them, but rather utilizing these visual enhancement features. You can enhance through post-production any of your recordings that you do. So you can invest in some software, but it's really cool because then you can edit out some mistakes, or if something doesn't go perfect, you can edit in a slide. Those types of things all matter in your pre and your post-production recording. Let's talk about number 8, promote accessibility. Now, I want you to realize that you can actually download not only the recording of it, but you also, when you download it, it's going to give you the transcript so that you can send that along. You can also download with that. It does it automatically. It's awesome. It gives you the chance to download all the people on the screen at once. It also gives you a chance to download just the highlighted person, and then it also gives you just the audio. So these are a lot of cool features that Zoom offers through the recording option. Number 9, I want you to review and reflect on the recording. Once you watch it back, you can see how you can improve your presentations into the future. Whether you need to use all the hardware and software I've been talking about, or if you just perfect your own presentation. All of these things matter with the help of Zoom's recording. Finally, number 10, I want you to take action. Here's what I want you to do. I've given you some great tips, some hardware, some software ideas, some different ways in which you can download it safely, make sure that you have your recording spot on. And so here's what I want you to do to take action immediately. Go into the comments on this video. If you'll just put in there what you promise you're going to implement for your next Zoom recording, I'd love to know. I'm going to respond to every single comment I get. It would be fun to start a conversation with you. I'm excited for you to now know how to do a Zoom recording and how to make it look awesome, sound awesome, and be your best. Thanks for joining me.